So basically, since the start of American studio filmmaking, specific studios have had a specific style or genre or type of film that they have produced and marketed. You can go back to the 30s and 40s with Warner Brothers making more of the darker, grimier gangster pictures, and MGM making more of the, traditional Hollywood magic style films. Now, not every movie that these studios was producing fit into these lanes, but there was a really solid way to tell what studio was making what film. And that was mostly by the content of the film. Fast forward to now, to modern day, we have the whole A24 film craze that took over more so in the mid 2010s. We're working with newer, different legacy studios, and as each of those studios is either beefing up or attempting to get into the movie game, they are taking on specific style of projects. Everybody knows when I say a Netflix movie what I'm talking about. In some ways, it's this ineffable quality that you can just understand what a Netflix movie is kind of before you know that it's a Netflix movie. As you sit down and you turn it on, and if you wiped away the ta-dum and the big N, you would know what it was, right? Everybody knows what I'm talking about. Yes, oftentimes that means a lack of quality, but at least there is something specific going on. That leads me to the main topic of today's video, which is what in the world is going on with Apple Studios filmmaking. I have just finished a baffling movie, to say the least, called Outcome. It's Jonah Hill's second directorial feature after the decent mid-90s. So no shade to Jonah Hill's directing style. I thought mid-90s was a solid effort. This movie left me absolutely baffled, shocked, confused. The quality of this film dipped quite a bit. So today I want to discuss what in the world is going on with Apple Studios. Do they have a creative direction for the films that they are making, or are they just throwing darts at the wall? And to do that, I want to look through the lens of this truly remarkable, in a negative way, film, Outcome. Outcome feels kind of like an anti-cancel culture film that should have come from one of the more right-wing Angel Studios type movies. It doesn't really want to come out and say the thing with its full chest, but it's a movie about movie stars. It's a movie about one specific movie star played by Keanu Reeves, who is incredibly concerned with being outed as a bad guy. There is some type of blackmail style video circulating, and he is attempting to pre-save his image before the video is even released. So he goes on a journey, much like if he was in a 12-step program, trying to apologize to people who he thinks may have this video and who may out him as being a bad person. He's compulsively checking his phone for his name. His name is Reef, by the way, which is just insane. Reef Hawk. Wild. Reef Hawk, bad guy. Reef Hawk, drug addict. Reef Hawk, mean person. Basically, the scale of what you can be canceled for being, drug addict, sex offender to mean person is kind of what I think Jonah Hill is trying to get at with this movie, because I'm not 100% well versed on Jonah Hill's mishaps, but I do think I remember something happening in like 2012 or 2022 or 2023. I cannot keep these male comedians straight with what they did or did not do. So if this is all alleged, we don't need any lawsuits or anything like that. I seem to remember him getting in some hot water, not enough to be criminally prosecuted, but just enough to be prosecuted by the mob online. And I think that is what Hill is trying to get at with this movie. Unfortunately, there is really no point of view or through point or any real type of message that you can cling on to in an attempt to kind of broadly attack cancel culture, online culture, celebrity culture, this idea of parasocial relationships. There really isn't anything to cling on to. The film's runtime is 75 minutes. There's not enough time for 3 acts in 75 minutes, let alone 3 well-written, fleshed out acts that actually have a point of view and a perspective. So I found that to be incredibly lacking. I do find the stunt casting of having Keanu Reeves play this character. Keanu Reeves has grown in stature on the internet specifically as being the guy, the nice guy in Hollywood. There's the meme about Keanu Reeves in the barbershop, breastfeeding a child. I don't know if you're as online as I am about that one, but there's just this mythos behind this person that we assume is real. And I think that there's some clever moments in that meta casting of having Keanu Reeves be the guy, play the actor who is basically taking on the Keanu Reeves persona and trying to kind of hide the fact that he was a drug addict for 5 years. He was attempting to hide a hard drug addiction from his fans, from, the world around him, and successfully did that. And then coming back into public life, he is now trying to maintain this good boy, clean image, right? I think that that is interesting. Unfortunately, the film does not do enough, even close to enough, to actually make that worthwhile to watch and to understand. There are vignettes of apologies that he's making to his mother, to different people he's worked with, to an ex-girlfriend, but nothing, there's no through line, there's no solid thread, there is nothing that really holds these things together. It feels more like this should have been a 6-episode prestige TV show, which is what brings me to the apple of it all. The film itself, standing on its own, we can blame some of its shortcomings, most likely on the haphazard writing and direction of Jonah Hill. I did not get anything from this movie. I thought this was one of the more poor entries on 2026's list so far. If you look at my Letterboxd list, it's probably down towards the bottom end of that. So we could blame its quality on the direction. Some things just didn't come together. Some things didn't work. I thought the performances were decent, specifically the performance of Martin Scorsese, who has been captured by Apple. If he's going to act in a couple movies, but he gets to make his stuff, I think that's a solid trade-off for me personally. But I don't know, maybe. He really does a good job. He acquits himself quite well here. But to transition to the Apple Studios of it all, when I say a prestige TV show, this is what I mean. If you have looked at the Apple TV Plus kind of homepage, you'll notice that their marketing strategy or their layout strategy is huge marketable star, full, like in a medium, big face on the poster with a one-word title, Shrinking, and there's Harrison Ford, or Severance, and there's Adam Scott, right? These easily digestible, easy to understand, huge movie star or TV star type things that are offering the viewer or the potential viewer a very easy route in. Now, I'm not saying that Apple had full creative control over this film project, but I do think that there is some leaning and negotiating when it comes to financing, when it comes to delivery, and when it comes to exhibition. So I think that Apple TV Plus may have a way to say, hey, listen, Jonah, listen, it would be nice if we cast some recognizable actors here. You have Keanu Reeves, you have Scorsese, you have Cameron Diaz, you have Matt Bomer, you have huge cameos from a ton of the big comedians of the day. So there's good star power here, but star power that feels pulled out of 2012 instead of 2026. Star power doesn't really work anymore, especially in terms of marketing. I mean, people are having struggle. Glenn Powell, a great example of trying to go the specific traditional movie star route and it not really working, because I think modern audiences are more savvy to a solid script, solid direction, a movie that has a point of view and wants to say something. This is just what I'm observing in the general marketing landscape, but it fits directly into the Apple TV scheme. They just want Keanu Reeves' face, outcome on the homepage so that someone who may know Keanu from The Matrix or Point Break or John Wick. So you've got a big swath of potential audience there that can see his face and say, I'm going to click this. And you may get 30 minutes of watch time out of a 75-minute video. But for Apple, I believe that that is worth it. I was potentially feeling a little bit more optimistic after the joint production of F1 last year, where yes, it's still Brad Pitt, it's still F1, very easy to understand, but it was theatrically released. There was a huge push towards IMAX screens. There was at least some semblance of a solidly written script, but it's the direction that really takes that film over the edge, right? And so I was cautiously optimistic maybe that we were going to be pivoting more towards these bigger spectacle type movies. Apple definitely has the money to throw a bigger budget around to some of these bigger spectacle action filmmakers who can still get these big stars. They can still do their similar marketing push, and it can still sit as a tile on Apple TV Plus after it's been in the theater for 3 months. But it seems more so that with this film at least, there's a pivot back to still high budget, still high superstar, but not a lot of quality here. And I wouldn't say that F1 is the most quality film ever made, but it was a step in the right direction. And this outcome feels like a huge step backwards and maybe even in the wrong direction. I don't know. We'll have to see. They don't have a huge, robust film slate every year. I mean, I think it's been like 2 or 3 movies a year. But if you look at last year, they missed with The Gorge. The Lost Bus was just okay. I mean, they did get an Oscar nomination for that for VFX, but the big one was F1. And I just don't know. I find myself, I shouldn't really care about this. Who cares what a billion-dollar, trillion-dollar company is doing with their movie studios? But I love thinking about the machinations of what the actual business side of Hollywood is looking like. Are they going to be a major player with the merging of Paramount and Warner Brothers? There is space for another studio to kind of slot in and to make some mid-budget adult dramas, comedies. LOL, that's never going to happen. But you know what I mean. There's space here in this market for someone to really put a push behind giving solid directors, solid writers, maybe some mid-level actors, talented actors, a chance here to make a 5 to 10 film slate in a given year and really give it a go. And I would like to see that happen. But what it seems is that they are going to continue to shoot things on the volume, shoot things with terrible green screen backgrounds, with huge stars, kind of phoning it in with directors who are a little bit lost in the weeds or maybe have had some issues and had to come home. I'm not 100% sure about what the backroom dealings look like. All I can say from this perspective was that I could not stop watching Outcome and thinking about the bigger picture. I was not lost in the film itself. I was more so focused on, oh, they just wanted this movie, and the marriage of Jonah Hill and this production company worked so well because they could cast stars, recognizable stars. They could have an easy marketing time of it. They could just throw it up on the service. It can be a 75-minute hangout movie, and maybe some people will click on it. Unfortunately, that seems to have backfired for them because the quality is so low with this one that I don't know if they're going to get the same level of push. I have heard zero about this movie. Absolutely none. The only reason I know about it is because I'm a freak and I try to watch almost every release of a given calendar year. So this was on the list. I threw it on earlier today. Did not like it at all. And I went into kind of a doom spiral about what the future of the Apple Studios film slate will look like. What do you think? Do you think that there's space for an Apple Studios? Do you think that there is a place for this kind of tech company to make their transition? I mean, we're also seeing that a lot with Amazon MGM, but they seem to be kind of pivoting more towards the traditional MGM rather than the Amazon. I'm not 100% sure, but with the success of Project Hail Mary, they have something to hang their hat on. And you could say the same about Apple and F1, but we need to see the follow-ups. The follow-up for Amazon's, I believe it's going to be the Thomas Crown Affair. They may have a couple smaller movies in there. But for Apple TV Plus, I believe their next, oh no, I think it went F1, Lost Bus, and then this. Their next like bigger movie to come out. For this to be that feels like a massive step back for me personally. So I would like to know what you think. Have you seen this film? What did you think? Did you have a different read on it than me? This felt like, you know, something out in the wilderness, Jonah Hill kind of doing a therapy session through the making of a movie. It really wasn't a movie for me personally. I cannot tell you how much I disliked it. I would love to hear your thoughts. If you like talking about contemporary movies, movies of the past, physical media collection, this is the channel for you. I would love for you to join in on the conversation. Go ahead and subscribe and leave your comments down below. I hope you're watching something incredible, something much better than Outcome, and I will see you in the next video.